Okay, good morning. I am setting up, making sure everything's a-okay here now for beginning a yoga flow class this morning. I'll test a couple of times, just come back and forth. If anybody is out there, it's a couple minutes early, but not very early, then maybe someone's there. Just trying for sound and light. I added a little bit of light from the class I did yesterday, trying to make it a little brighter so that people could see better. So let me know if you feel like something can improve. I'm looking at comments here now, and I'd like any kind of input that you have to increase the quality of this. I know that the sound is also sometimes an issue when I go to the floor. As I step back and away towards my mat, I realize my mic on my phone doesn't pick up as well. So I'm going to try to fix these things slowly but surely. The idea of a microphone has never appealed to me, so not sure, but I'll have to see what happens, especially once these classes have people in them taking class where we'll be wearing masks. That's going to be an issue, I know that. So I'm trying to prepare and get things together. Looks like a few of you are out there. I see some people see me, so that's good, and hear me. So get comfortable. All right, I've got my mat turned sideways, so it is a different view than if you took classes here in the studio before. Usually my mat is turned the other way. You're seeing me head on. You're going to be seeing me sideways. This camera, it is very confusing. It does reverse everything so that I'm actually, when I say step my right foot forward, going to be stepping my right foot forward. So that, and some things will look mirrored to you, some things will be a little confusing. So just, bear with it, go through it, do the best you can. It doesn't really matter. You all know we do everything the same on both sides. So take your time. Hello to everybody here. If you're just joining us, just sit comfortably. Have stuff ready for yourself if you need a blanket. If you need blocks, have them all handy there for you. And I am so glad to be able to do yoga with everyone again. It has been a very long 4 months. As all of you know, I'm pretty sure most people know, I was sick with COVID, and I am so grateful to be able to get back to some sense of normalcy. I've been doing yoga at home for about a month. Gentle, gradually working my way up, so I at least am able to demonstrate some and do some yoga now. And I hope that it helps all of you with the stress of these days we're living through here now. So let's begin. Let's just close our eyes and sit however is comfortable, whether you want to be cross-legged, stretch your legs out if you'd rather, use blankets. Just get easy in your hips. You may even want to put your hands down, kind of lift yourself up a little bit, and then just gradually release your sit bones down and lengthen up through the top of your head, bringing your hands to a comfortable place. Whether you allow your hands to rest in your lap or beside you, palms up or down, just, experiment a little bit, get easy, and start to breathe. Feeling your breath coming in and going out through your nose. See if you can imagine breathing in and out equally through each side of your nose. And let your inhales and exhales gradually even out. counting if you need, so that you reach that same count as you inhale and exhale. Our fingertips now down onto the floor beside us, letting your shoulders soften down away from your ears. And we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, let our hands come right down together in front of our hearts. And then reversing, inhaling the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, opening the arms on back out and down like wings. And let's flex our feet here. Press gently into whether the heels are on the floor or the outside edges of the feet. Press down a little bit to activate your legs and your hips. Come on forward, you know. It may be just a little bit, depending on how your hips and your back feel. Once you get your hands down, see if you can shift a little bit side to side. Just really easily letting yourself shift one way and then the other. And it might send your sits bones back just a little bit more when you do that. And you stay where you want. Stay up high. Let yourself walk farther out with your hands. Come farther forward over your legs. I know a lot of you like to fold all the way over your legs. If that's comfortable, go for it. And let yourself be mindful of allowing your hips to open up and your back. And feel the breath coming in to expand the back ribs. Feeling the back broaden and widen as you inhale, the low back. And then we'll come up enough to walk out over towards our right thigh. Let yourself come on over towards your right. And be easy here as you do, releasing through your neck if you can let your head hang down. And then we'll come on back through center and we're going to walk over to the left. Kind of draw your right sit bone back just a little bit there. And then we'll walk back into center. And we're going to walk ourselves all the way on back up, releasing our hands on out beside us here now. Let's inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And let's reverse. Inhale the hands right up through the midline. You can look at your hands if your neck allows. And on the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. And now release to bring your hands behind you. Interlace your fingers here now. And then, see, without hyperextending your ribs, right? Send the tailbone down. Let yourself feel really open here across your chest. And then when you inhale, let your hands come a little bit away. And as you exhale, let the hands and the arms come back towards your torso. So inhale, let the hands come away from you a bit. And on the exhale, release back down. And then one more time. Inhaling, the hands a little away. And on the exhale, release back down. And let's release the hands on out beside us and circle our wrists a little bit. So keep your hands open. Let your hands just circle around to open through the wrists. And then just reverse and go the other way. And then make a loose fist with your hands and circle in one direction again with the hands. And then we'll reverse and go the other way. And then just shake your hands out a little bit. Go all the way up into the arms a little bit if you can. Feel really flippy-floppy with your hands and your arms. And we are going to switch the cross of our legs if we're cross-legged. So you can stretch your legs out if you want to. Bring your other leg in front here now. And now flexing through the feet, we'll come into that seated forward bend again. So take your time. If you come an inch, put your hands wherever you need. You can even leave your hands on your thighs. You know that. If you can allow your head to release a little bit forward to release your neck, do. And of course, those who like to fold all the way over, just be mindful of feeling that nice release for your back and your hips. And then just be with your breath. Give yourself time. Time to find those nice full breaths. Time to feel the expansion through your ribs, through your low back. And then we'll come up again. We're going to walk over towards the right thigh and let ourselves, again, draw the left sit bone back just a little bit there. But then go ahead and send your right hand a little farther back so you can open up into a side stretch here. Now, you can stay up on your hand, you can go to your forearm, that's up to you. Try to feel that left sit bone drawing down towards the ground. And then turn to look down towards the floor. Release your neck there. And then we'll bring our hand on back down because we're going to walk all the way around to the other side. So coming out over your left thigh. Stay there a second. Draw your right sit bone back. And then send your left hand back a little bit to give you support, and we'll open up into that side stretch. And again, you can lower all the way to your forearm if you want. Feel your right sit bone drawing down towards the floor. Really opening up there through the ribs. All those little muscles there between the ribs feel great. And now turn to look down towards the ground. Release your neck there. We're going to walk on back into center again. One more breath here. And then we'll walk ourselves all the way on back up. Bringing the hands again behind us, but this time put them on the floor, and you can come onto fingertips or flat hands. Walk back enough to where you can draw your chest forward, like you have that string attached to your sternum, drawing forward on a diagonal line and open up here through the chest, through the front body. Really enjoy. Be comfortable wherever you look so your head feels in a good place where your neck's not tensing up a lot. And you may even want to look all the way up to the ceiling. And then we'll come on back up. From here, let's stretch our right leg out in front of us, nice and long. Bring your left foot into the inner thigh or down lower to your inner calf. If your knee's iffy, grab one of your blocks or blankets, put it underneath your knee so you have some support there. And then we're going to come forward. Just a real easy opening of the hamstring here. And that might mean an inch, right? Depending on how much you've been doing, how much you've been stretching or doing yoga or things that tighten up your legs. If you've been running or walking and not doing a lot of stretching, take your time and let yourself just come on forward. And you're more than welcome, you know this, to reach for your toes, to keep your hands beside your legs. You can fold forward once you get forward quite a bit if it feels good. To bring that nose towards your knee, you can. Just be mindful and breathe. One more breath. And then we're going to rise on back up. We're going to bring that left knee up and bring the left foot across to the outside of your right leg somewhere. Hold on there below your knee. Lengthen yourself upward with a nice inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to twist towards our left. So your right hand, you can crook your elbow into that knee there, or you can bring your arm across. Let yourself come on around into twist. Whether you look to the wall to your left, or maybe you prefer to look more behind you. Just enjoy, take your time. Feel that length up through the crown of the head. One more breath. And then slowly use your belly to come on back around. And then if you can, take hold of that left leg. See if you can draw it in towards you just a little bit, maybe even rocking it a little bit side to side. And if you feel like you want to really go ahead and draw the leg in and rock the baby there a little bit, just to release your hip. Try not to round into the back. Remember, sitting nice and tall. And then we'll release that leg down. We're going to stretch that leg long. We're going to bring the right foot into the inside of the left leg. Low or high, up to you. Use support if you want. Let yourself use a block or a blanket under your knee. And then again, as you come forward, pull that left heel down onto the mat or floor. Draw it back towards you. And then as you come forward, take your time. It's not a race to get there. Sometimes just staying with your breath up high gives you actually more release behind your leg than if you fold over. So give yourself time to play with it a little bit, just to be on your inhales with that length of the spine, and on your exhales, letting yourself come forward as much as feels really good to open your hips and your back for you. Be with your breath. One more breath here. And then we'll release to come on back up. We're going to bring that right knee up. And again, if you can cross over to the outside, whether it's above or below your knee, you can stay on the inside if you need to. Sitting up tall, taking a nice inhale. As you exhale, you decide. Left hand to that right knee, crook of the elbow around it if you want. Letting yourself come on around into twist. And depends on you and your neck, whether you look to the side or look more behind yourself. That is really just be mindful. See how you feel up in that upper back. How do you feel like along the edge of your shoulder blades and lengthening up here. Feeling the sit bones reaching down into the floor. Feeling that left heel drawing down and back a little bit. One more inhale. Then on the exhale, use your belly to bring yourself on back around. And now, if you can, again, pick up that leg, that right leg, and you can let yourself hold the leg in here, flex the foot. If it's okay to rock it a little bit back and forth, do. Draw in more. Of course, if you like to cradle the leg and bring yourself into drawing the leg in, do. Just what feels good for your own hip. Be mindful. Let it feel really good. And then we're going to release. And from here, bring your legs out just a little bit. Not a real wide angle, but enough of a wide angle where you feel a little bit in your inner thighs. Come forward a bit. Really feel like you're pinning your legs down so your knees and your toes are facing up. Doesn't have to be really far distant apart between your legs, you know that, but just take your time. Open the inner thighs a little bit here. And just breathe. Be mindful of your breath. If it feels okay to you to keep your hands centered and shift your body a little bit one way and then the other, letting your torso just come over to one side and the other do. Just be mindful. And you know, if you haven't done yoga in a long time, just let it feel like it's the most natural thing ever, not pushing, right? We're going to walk on back up. And we're going to bring our legs on together. We're going to come around onto our hands and knees. So if you know you need a blanket underneath your knees, by all means get one so that you have support there under your knees. Same thing under your hands. If your wrists are iffy, come to fists. If you need more support underneath your hands, sometimes a blanket can help, but if really necessary, use your fists so you don't have that crease in your wrist. Spread the fingers, get your pointer fingers about parallel to each other. Turn your inner elbows to face each other. And then as you exhale, draw up into your cat pose. And on your inhale, send your tailbone backing up. Move your way back through into your cow pose. So moving through your cat-cow is up to you. How fast or slow, you know that. Sometimes it feels better to move very slowly. Sometimes it feels better to move more quickly. But let your breath be what leads you, right? So the exhales draw you into your cat pose. Your inhales move you back through the spine into cow. So finish off the one you're on. And come back to more neutral spine. Send your right foot behind you on the floor. Curl your toes under, press into your heels, zip up your belly. Now if you feel like you want to put a little bit more into it, you can lift that left knee up and get just a little bit more into the shoulders too, and into your hands, your wrists. And then put the knee back down and we're going to switch. So sending the left foot back, curl the toes under. Right there is a good calf stretch. It feels really good. Think of your inner left thigh reaching up towards the ceiling. And then again, you can lift your hips up. You can press into the top of that right foot to get a stretch there. And there you can get into your shoulders and your wrists a little bit, your hands. And then come on back down, come on back into all fours. And then bring your big toes together and your heels apart. Now you may want to grab a block to sit on it. So if sitting into that bowl that you make with your heels, sitting fully on that is too much for your knees or anything else, grab a block or 2 blocks and sit on it. And just sit up nice and tall for a second, lengthening up through the crown of the head. So once you lengthen up, the spine just naturally aligns. Let your shoulders feel nice and wide and open. Good. And then staying there for a second, we'll come just into a little bit of a eagle wrap with our arms. Let's bring our left arm over our right. Give ourselves a hug. Let yourself just release there. Bring your chin down a little bit. And then roll your left ear towards your left shoulder a bit. Come on back into center. Roll your right ear towards your right shoulder. Come on back into center again. And then we'll come on back up. If you want to go into full eagle wrap, you can send the backs of the hands towards each other. You don't need to. Stay hugging if that feels better for you. If your elbows can rise up a little bit, just let your shoulders melt down. And then we'll release elbows down, unwind our arms, float the arms straight on out from the shoulders. We're going to bring the right arm on top of the left. Give ourselves a hug. Let yourself again, bring your chin down. Roll the head one way and the other. Just take your time to really find release there for your neck. And then come back to center with the head. We're going to come up. Totally optional to add the wrap. So if you feel like sending the backs of the hands towards each other, do. Elbows can rise up. You know that if the shoulders melt down, then you can get just a little more ease and release there. And then we're going to release the arms on down beside us. Shake out a little bit. Come back on around towards your hands and knees. And you may want your blocks. We're going to step our left foot forward and come into our first lunge. So coming on into that first lunge, really take your time here. Get the height you want to be with your hands high on the blocks or lower or on the floor. And feel the feet pressing gently away from each other. Lengthen out through the crown of your head. And then we're going to switch and go to the other side. So however you need to switch, bringing that right foot forward, taking your time. Let your shoulders come down away from your ears. Engage your belly. Really feel your whole body here in your lunge. Extending through that back inner heel and out through the top of your head. And we're going to switch again. So as the left foot comes forward this time, and you may need a blanket, we're going to lower that right knee down onto the mat and press into the top of the right toes. Maybe you can lean a little bit more forward, getting a little more openness through the front of that right hip. And if any of you want to bring yourself up a little bit, you can bring your forearm to your thigh. You can kind of hold your hands and rest your left forearm on your left thigh. You can put hands on the thigh and come up even higher, or hands to the heart, or arms overhead if you choose. You can look up a little bit if that helps you. Just take your time. And then we're going to lower and bring our hands on back down. Lift the back knee back up. For a second, straighten that front leg and let the right heel descend right back down towards the mat there. Let yourself enjoy opening up through the back of both legs here. And then we're going to switch legs. So stepping back with that left foot and forward with your right, finding your lunge. Lowering that back left knee down to the floor. And again, pressing into the top of the foot, letting your hips shift a little forward. Keep your hands on your blocks if you need. You don't need to worry about lifting up. First step might be the forearm. Right forearm to your thigh. You can even hold your hands there kind of together to give you a little support and balance. You can put your hands above your knee and lift your body up. You can bring your hands to your heart. Or you can add the arms up overhead if you choose to. And some of you may even want to look up a little bit if that feels good. That certainly increases the openness through the front of the left hip. And we are going to come on back down with the hands. From here, we're going to come into down dog. So bringing that foot back, right foot back, coming on up into your first downward facing dog pose. And if it has been a while, do whatever you need. Walk if you need to walk, bend your knees. Adjust, hands can stay on the blocks. Remember, you do not have to have your hands on the floor. They can be on the blocks. It can be a nice transition of getting yourself back into dog without so much pressure. So draw your elbows towards each other wherever you are. And let yourself be with your breath. Feel the breath coming into the back ribs. Nice full breaths. And now from here, we're going to come forward. So step your right foot forward and then your left foot forward. And come on into your Uttanasana, standing forward bend here. Feet hips distance apart and parallel. You're more than welcome to use support, elbows above the knees. You know that if your back bothers you, or use your hands on blocks. Blocks can give you a lot of good support there to keep the back from feeling uncomfortable. Feel the feet equal in the floor. If you need to bend your knees, do. Remember, you don't want to lock your knees. Bend the knees a little bit if that feels good. Feel your sit bones right over your heels. And see if you can really feel full deep breaths. Inhaling, feeling the ribs expand in all directions. And on the exhales, just letting yourself release the top of the head closer towards the ground. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips, bend our knees, press into our feet. We're going to rise straight on up to standing. We'll inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands right down together in front of our hearts. Coming in to mountain pose. So take your time. If you need to look at your feet, right? Let yourself get really grounded equally through your feet. Make sure you don't have your weight to the outside or the insides of the feet. Lift your toes up for a second. That helps you get a little more balance there. Let the toes then gradually release back down. And just come into, whether your eyes are opened or closed, bringing your gaze right on out, as though you're looking out to the horizon, feeling the space around you. Just imagine you're breathing in and out through every pore of your skin for a few breaths here so that you feel equal all over your body, very balanced. Finding that calm strength of simply standing in your mountain pose. And then we'll release, let our arms come on down beside us. We're going to inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And as we exhale, we're going to fold forward from the hips into standing forward bend. Let your next inhale bring your hands to your shins. Rise up your torso and come as flat as you can in your back. Really lengthen out. And we'll step the right foot back and come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into downward facing dog pose. Walk your dog a little bit. Spread your fingers wide. Actually come forward enough to see your hands. Make sure they're even on the mat. Elbows hug inward a little bit. And then go ahead and reach back into your full dog. And on your next inhale, come on out to plank. Nice and strong plank. Engage your belly here. See if you can not drop into the belly, but you feel like you're in plank with very strong zip up of the belly. We're going to lower down. Now you can put your knees down first if you want. Elbows right by the ribs. And we'll come on into a little cobra. Let it be small. Just float your hands up a little bit. So you're just using your back, right, to rise you up. And then bring the hands back down, bring your head back down. We're going to come back into down dog, whether you come through a full or a half push-up, or maybe you prefer to come just back to your hands and knees.
Elbows hug inward. See if you can press your feet gently away from each other. Feel your inner thighs reaching towards the wall, the back of your mat mirror. And we'll step the right foot forward and come into lunge. However you need to get there. Then we'll step forward with that left foot coming on into Uttanasana. Nice full breaths. If you're comfortable to hold your elbows, go right ahead. If you need support, use it. And then let your face go. Let your jaw soften. Imagine your forehead just smoothing out. Feeling the breath coming in and going out. So just being with your breath. We'll release our hands now, back up to our hips. We're going to bend our knees, press into our feet, rise up, and inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Let's unfold our arms beside us. Clasp your hands behind you here now. Send the hands down, arms as long as feels good. Inhale. And on the exhale, bend your knees and come forward. Now, how far you go, up to you. You can stay parallel to the floor. You can fold over your legs. If your arms will come away from your back, you're more than welcome to do that. Or keep your hands up on your back more. Nice full breaths. And then bring the hands back to the back and then release them on down towards the floor. Let your next inhale lengthen out your spine. And we're going to step the left foot back into second sun salutation. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Good. Walk a little bit. Really take your time. Be mindful. And let's do just a little bit of side plank work here. Now, you can put your left knee down. Use that left foot as a kickstand and open into side plank here where you have that back foot on the floor. Or you can do a full one if you'd rather do a full side plank. If you're in the variation with the knee down, you can lift that right foot up off the floor if you choose. And then we're going to come on back down, come through plank. Now once you're in your plank, see if you can walk a little bit. Bend one knee at a time. Let yourself find that sense of being very solid in your pelvis. Just bend one knee at a time towards the ground. Come back, we're going to do the other side. Right knee down, kickstand that right foot back. If you're doing that one, and then bring that left arm up. Now, you can float that top leg up. You can do a full side plank, and you can do the full side plank floating the top leg up if you like. And then we'll come on back down with the hand and the foot. Coming on back into our plank. We're going to lower down. Knees first if you need. Elbows right by the ribs. Coming into a little cobra. Now, you can stay there, or you can press into your hands and come up higher. That is up to you. Elbows in towards the ribs. Try not to lift your chin up and shorten the back of the neck. Find length in the back of your neck and throat. And we'll come on back down. We'll make our way back to down dog again, whether you come through a half or a full push-up. Good. And let's bring the right foot forward. And then come on back into standing forward bend. Feet hips distance apart. Let your head move around a little bit, nod or shake your head a bit. You can even let your body sway a bit and add some little twists upside down by bringing one shoulder forward and then the other. And then coming on back into center, bring your hands to your hips, bend your knees. We'll rise up and inhale the arms up overhead. And on the exhale, bring your hands down together in front of your heart. Coming into mountain pose. Nice and quiet. Starting to feel that energy now really flowing through the body. And then we'll release our arms down beside us. We're going to inhale both arms up overhead. And on the exhale, coming forward. Inhale into that long back. Exhale, right foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog. Let your inhale carry you out to plank. Exhale will lower us down. And on your inhale, coming into your cobra. Exhale back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, right foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale, standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising up, arms flowing to the top. And on the exhale, we're going to come forward again. Let your inhale lengthen out your spine. Exhale, left foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale out to that plank. And on the exhale, we will lower down. And inhaling into your cobra. Exhaling back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, left foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale, standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising on up. And on the exhale, we're going to come forward again. Inhale, nice long back. Then come into your down dog. Place your hands. Walk your way back, jump your way back. Do what feels good. Keep walking in your dog if you need. Bend your knees. Good. From here, we're going to bring our left foot forward. And have your blocks handy here at the front of your mat. We're going to come on up for warrior one. So drawing the shoulders around square and getting yourself here now in the length of stance that feels good for you. Really reaching into the outside edge of that back foot. Drawing your shoulders around square. Float your arms a little bit away from you. Turn your palms forward. Feel that sense of a breath of air underneath your arms. And then just let yourself enjoy warrior one here. Very strong, very equal. Equal between your legs, your feet. Hips feel very balanced. We'll bring our hands then gently to meet in front of our chests, in front of our hearts. And then we're going to rise the hands up through the midline. Now you can keep your elbows bent. Interlace your fingers, send your pointer fingers up. Hug your elbows in a little towards your face. And then you can decide. You can let the elbows lift up and keep the elbows bent and come a little bit into that back bend there. You can come into longer arms and do the same thing. So you be where it feels good for you. You don't want to add any sense of compression in your low back. Your belly is really lifted. Feet equal in the floor. One more breath. And then we're going to release. We're going to come on into straightening the front leg out. Bring your hands just behind you. Gently rest them on your low back. And then start to come forward for pyramid pose. Thighs engaging upward. Feel that lift of the thighs upward. Let yourself go as far as you want without your hands going down. And then when you're ready, bring the hands down to whatever surface you like to use. Blocks, any height of the blocks or the floor. And then adjust your stance if you need to. So take your time. Really feel those thighs engaging upward. Let yourself enjoy finding the backs of the legs here. Finding that sense of as you lift through the thighs and lift all around the knees, you're engaging all those muscles around the knees. Shift more of your weight now to your right hand. Bring your left hand to your hip and roll on up with that shoulder a little bit. And take your time. And then we'll come on back down. Let yourself release right there, right on back down. Feel those thighs engaging upward. And then we're going to bend the front knee and release into full lunge from here. So take your time and find your lunge. Good. And we're going to step back into downward facing dog pose from here. So take your time. Walk to the tops of the toes a little bit. And you know, this is a Vinyasa flow class. You know, you are more than welcome now to come through if you'd like. Out to plank, through either chaturanga or not for a back bend, or don't, right? Put your knees down and rest. Take your time. Follow what your body needs to do. Again, not forcing, not pushing through. We'll finish off back in downward facing dog pose. And we're going to bring the right foot forward and come up for that warrior one. So take your time, get your feet aligned. Bring yourself into the length of stance that feels good for you. Let the arms come out a little bit away from you. Turn your palms forward. And let yourself just feel that outside edge of that left foot reaching into the floor, which really more deeply opens the front of your left hip. Keep your hands really spread wide. Feel equal energy down through the arms, through your hands. And then we'll float the arms on up. And go ahead right up at the top. Interlace your fingers. Send your pointer finger up. Bend your elbows if you need. And then see if you can lift the elbows up a little bit. See if you can find just that lift right at the base of the shoulder blades. You don't have to straighten the arms out. You can keep the arms really bent, in fact, if that's better. So feeling that flowing of energy, that circular flow. Imagine inhaling up the front of the body, over the top, and exhaling down the back of your body. One more breath. And then let your hands come down through the midline, right to be in front of your chest, in front of your heart. And then we'll unfold our arms. We're going to straighten that front leg. Bring your hands behind you. Again, just let them be comfortable. We're going to come forward for pyramid. So feel the thighs engaging upward. Now, everybody's different when they want to put their hands down. So you put your hands down anytime you're ready to whatever support you need. Right? And you also, again, you know, when you get your hands down, you might have to change your stance a little bit. Lengthen out through the spine here now. Feel the thighs engaging upward. Even try to lift your toes for a second. So you can, it's hard on the back foot, but lift the toes. Try to feel centered there through the feet. Take your time. Once the legs adjust a little bit more, the toes release down. You may decide that you want to go a little further over that leg and fold forward more. Thighs engaging upward, remember. Really engaging all those muscles around the knees and finding that great stretch through the hamstrings. Now we're going to keep our left hand down and bring our right hand up to our hip and roll that shoulder up, coming into revolved triangle. Take your time and enjoy. And then we'll release and come on back down from there. And we're going to bend the front knee and find full lunge. So just enjoy finding your lunge here for a second. Reach through that inner heel, draw the shoulders down. And then we'll come on back into downward facing dog pose. So coming through for vinyasas if you choose. You know that. It's fine to put your knees down, rest in child's pose. You're fine if you want to move through somewhat. You don't have to do any back bend. You can come to plank and back to dog if you want. You don't have to go through chaturanga, bending the elbows, unless you choose. So finish off. Let's meet back in down dog. From here, we're going to bring our left foot forward and come up into warrior two. So let yourself line up your heels, get that back foot aligned. Reach out through your fingertips at first and then flex your hands. Look there at the back of your left hand. Press into the heel of the hand a little bit. Enjoy feeling heated up now a little bit in the body on this lovely rainy morning to do yoga. Let's turn that left palm up and inhale, reach up towards the sky into our reverse warrior. And on the exhale, we'll come into side angle. Whether you put your hand or your forearm onto your thigh or your hand to your block, let yourself come on up with that top arm if possible. Otherwise, keep it down on your hip. Enjoy. And now bring your right hand to the back of your head and look down. See if you can get a block, or maybe put your hand on your shin or your ankle. And we're going to straighten that front leg out for triangle. Thighs engage upward. Start to turn to look back now towards the center of the room. You may even be able to turn to look up with your hand back there at the top of your head and be comfortable there. And then bring your gaze back, right directly in front of you. Stretch that arm straight up from the shoulder. Feel your thighs engaging upward. And then we're going to release, come on back down. We're going to come into lunge briefly, but from that lunge, we're going to launch forward for a little warrior three. So have your blocks in your hands and just step your way on forward, lifting that right leg up. As you exhale, bring your knee in towards your face. Inhale, reach it back long again. One more time, exhaling, bringing the knee in, rounding into your back. And then inhale. inhale, stretch it back out. You can stretch the left arm forward if you want here. And then from here, we're going to step back into lunge. Take your time, coming into your lunge. We're going to make our way back into down dog. Vinyasas or kriyas if you choose, or none of the above. Put your knees down or just stay in dog. We're just going to go through 2 or 3 if we're doing these. And then we'll finish off back in dog. We're going to bring the right foot forward. We're coming up into warrior 2 on the other side. So take your time, line up your heels. Have your blocks handy. Bring your arms on out. Press into the heels of the hands. Let yourself look at the back of your hand there. And then we'll turn that right palm up. We're going to inhale, reach up towards the sky. And on the exhale, come into your side angle. So hand or forearm onto your thigh. Take your time, get situated there. And then let yourself release into that long arm if your shoulder lets you. So pressing down into that thigh there so that you can find length in the underside of the body. And then bend your elbow. Let your hand rest right at the back of your head. And we're going to come into hand to a block or your leg, straightening out that front leg and coming into triangle. So take your time. Thighs engage upward. You can look up if you want, because you can support your head and almost like you give yourself more length. Just pulling gently there at the back of the head. And then when you look forward again, stretch that arm up. Straight up from your shoulder, palm forward. Remember, you don't want to twist open. You can do that in this pose, but right now just lift straight up. One more breath. And we're going to come on back down into lunge. So bring your hands to blocks if you know you like that for launching forward for your warrior 3. And we are going to come on forward, lifting that left leg up. Toes are facing down. Let yourself move a little bit. Bend both knees. Bring that left knee in towards your face. And then inhale and come back out. And then again, exhale, bringing that knee in. And bringing it back into warrior 3, releasing the right arm forward if you choose. Good, one more breath. And then we'll come on back down. We're going to step back into lunge. And we'll make our way back now into downward facing dog pose. Last vinyasas, if you want to do any. Vinyasas or kriyas, go for them. Good. Finish off. And once you are in your last dog here, bring your knees on down to the floor, big toes together, knees apart, and shift on back towards pose of a child. So you know where you go in child's pose. Whether you stay somewhat forward to give not so much pressure into your knees, stay forward if you need. Use a blanket behind your knees if you need. Shift your way to where you can. Bring your arms to where you're comfortable, whether they're alongside your legs, palms up, or underneath your head, or letting the arms just be soft and forward. Breathing into the back. See if you can expand that low back with your breath, like you're widening your low back as you inhale. Nice full breaths. Good. And now come on forward. Let yourself come onto your forearms. Stretch your legs long. Interlace your fingers and send your pinkies out. Come up into a forearm plank here, or half one. Knees can stay down. If you're in your full one, walk a little bit. Bend a knee at a time. Let yourself walk a little bit. Really just activating the shoulders, finding the core strength here. Zip up the belly. And then bring the knees on down one at a time. Maybe shift your arms back a little bit. And if you're able to come into dolphin, go ahead and lift on up and let yourself come on into dolphin pose. Otherwise, stay in your forearm plank if necessary. So feel that the forearms pressing down into the ground, elbows hugging inward. You can always inhale your heels up and exhale them down. Letting yourself feel the backs of the legs here in your dolphin pose. And then we'll bring the knees on back down. We're going to shift back towards child's pose again. Once you're in child's pose, lift up enough to thread the needle with your left arm. Send it through and let yourself come back down. Maybe you want to put your right hand under your head. Maybe you feel good to stretch your arm overhead. Just be mindful. Take your time. And then we'll press up and we're going to go to the other side. So threading the needle, right arm goes under. You come to the right side of your head. You can put your head on your hand. You can stretch your arm out. Totally up to you. Do what you can. And then we'll come on back into child's pose. Take a breath there in child's pose. Let yourself just release there and breathe. Nice, easy breaths. And then we'll walk our hands back by our knees. And we're going to come on up and bring our legs on around in front of us. And come into sitting cross-legged if you can. If you're not comfortable like that, don't do it. Be in Baddha Konasana or have your legs long. And just come forward just a little bit. As you exhale, come a little forward. And as you inhale, let yourself come back up. So just moving forward and back a little with your breath, just to start to calm the breath down. And let yourself be mindful of very much following your breath. Good. And then come on back. If you were cross-legged, switch the cross of your legs. And then just again, continue to let yourself exhale your way forward and inhale your way up. If it helps you to stay focused more, to close your eyes, do. Good. And then come on back up to the top and let's stretch our right leg out beside us. So as you do, this left leg, man, everybody's different. You may want to have it stretch out a little bit. You may want to have it long. Or you may be okay just to keep the heel right there at the midline and kind of go a little more to the top of those toes. But that's up to you and your hip. We're just going to side stretch a little bit. Let your right hand slide on down, maybe to your shin, maybe to your ankle. Maybe you like to bend the elbow, bring it to the inside of the leg and hold on to your foot. And then you can add the arm, whether you want to go up or all the way up and over. And you're welcome to go as far or less far, and you know that, as feels good for you. It is a very deep side stretch. You don't have to force the left hip down. The sit bone might be a little bit up off the floor, and that's great. That's fine. Just focus on opening there through the body, the side body. One more breath. And then we're going to come on back up and we're going to switch legs. So stretching the left leg out, bringing the right leg in, or keeping it long if you need. You know, pay attention to what feels good for you. And sliding that left hand down. And your left knee and toe are facing up. You can go, stay up high. You don't have to go low. It's a big side stretch. Once you add this arm up and over, it's a big side stretch. You don't have to go way low. You can reach over if you want towards that foot. You can let your arm stay up higher, or don't use the arm at all. You can put your hand on your ribs if you want. Sometimes it feels even good to put your hand behind your head. Really, pay attention to your body. There's enough we're not in control of right now, so you are in control of what you want to do, how far, how much you want to do here. So come on up. And let's bring our legs out for a wide angle just for a second. Point your feet a second, flex your feet.
Point your feet and then hold on behind the back of your legs above your knees, and bring your knees on in front of you. Bring your legs in front of you and see about, you might have to adjust a little bit, holding behind your thighs here. I like to clasp my hands together and walk back and just have a little balance here, flexing through the feet and feeling the heels off the floor. Now, don't do this if it hurts your back. It's a little boat pose right here. You know, whether you decide to go any further or not, or if that's too much for your back, keep your feet down and just use your hands to lengthen your spine. And if you like to come in a little deeper, you can come up with the lower legs parallel to the floor and maybe even let go. You can decide about coming into straighter legs, and you can also hold on to your legs to do that, or your feet, right? So just kind of play around a little bit. Let it feel good. Let yourself enjoy coming into your boat pose. And then we'll come on down and bring the soles of the feet together and open the knees out into Baddha Konasana, right? So let your hands come behind you a little bit. Lift yourself up just a little bit so that when you come back down, and you let yourself all the way back down, you feel like you're lengthening up instead of sitting like this when you come down to the floor. So it's like you're lifting up through the top of the head as you set your sit bones down. And there you are, in full length here. Now, how far away from you your feet are, that is up to you. They can be in close. We're all built differently in our hips. Your knees might be way up. They may be down more. It doesn't matter where your knees are. Just sit comfortably. You can come forward if you choose to. You can let yourself release with a nice long back forward. And I do know that some of you, if you have your feet out quite far in that big diamond shape, some of you like to come all the way down and let your head come onto your feet because it feels like a huge relief. So only you know what feels like a relief to you, right? So let it feel very good, like you are allowing your hips and your back to release. And then just breathe. One more breath. And then we're going to walk ourselves on back up and let your hands help your knees come back up to center. And we're going to turn to lie down on our mats here now. So take your time, get yourself down onto your back on your mat, and once you get there, let your feet be on the floor and separate your feet wider so they come towards the outside edges of your mat, and let your knees come from one side to the other. Now, how you do this is up to you. You may want to barely move the knees, or you may want to let the knees descend way down towards the ground because it feels good. That really is totally up to you. Just be mindful. Let it feel like a release. If your knees go down pretty far, it'll give you a nice stretch through the front of this top leg. You can even stretch that arm up a little higher too if that feels good, and get more in your side waist. Your arms can be like in a wide V there if it feels good. And then finish off. Let the knees come back to center. Let's bring our feet in for bridge pose. Now, a lot of you I know like to use blocks for bridge. So you can have a block handy. Get a block handy if you like to do supported bridge. Bring yourself into feet a little wider than they are in mountain pose, right? So you want your feet just a little wider. Feet are still parallel. Bring your arms down alongside you. Let's bend our elbows to 90 degrees and really, as you press into the backs of the arms, feel what happens. So the back lifts up, the chest lifts up, your tailbone reaches down a little bit more, and then go ahead and release. Let yourself breathe there. Do a little pelvic tilt. Exhale, curl the tailbone up, and inhale, let it come back down. And then again, pressing into the backs of the arms. Feel how your chest rises up. Roll your shoulders under more. Go ahead and float on up into your bridge pose. Feel the back of your head into the floor. It doesn't matter how high you go. You can go 2 inches or an inch and still be in a bridge pose.
You'll feel your thighs, and the higher up you get, the more you might feel your thighs. You can stretch your arms long or keep them bent. You can lift your heels up if that feels good. And of course, you can grab that block. If you like supported bridge, you can release the block right there on the sacrum, right that flat part where you're totally supported. You're not hanging off the block, making your ribs go hyperextended there. So you're supported, and it can be any height, right? You've got three heights. You've got the lowest, you got the middle, you got the highest height of your block. So if you're going to be supported, find which one feels good and just let yourself release there. Give your low back time to release. And I know some of you would prefer to move and come up and down off the block, and there are some of you out there who might want to do a full upward facing bow pose. So if you feel up to that, bring the hands above the shoulders and press your way on up. I am certainly not there yet. So take your time, be mindful, coming into your bridge pose of choice. Remember, it's fine to move in and out of bridge. You don't have to stay. If you feel like you're overly gripping, instead of that thought of lengthening the top buttock muscles down, then just come down. And we'll all make our way on down from our bridge pose. Bring our knees on into our chest. Let your knees just come a little side to side. Use your hands just to gently bring them side to side and massage your low back. And then we'll come on down with the feet. Let's cross our left thigh over our right. Bring your arms out beside you. And then lift your hips up, shift them to the left 2 or 3 inches, and let your knees come over to the right side for a twist. Now, we're all different. You may need to stay up pretty high with your knees and let your feet support you there so you don't go too far. You don't want to feel discomfort in your glutes or into your back, so just be mindful. Just enjoy a couple of breaths there in the twist. You can always turn your head to look to the left. And then we'll come on back up to the top. We're going to uncross our legs, shift to get your hips straightened out, your back straightened out again. Right thigh over left, right? Like a woman cross-legged. Lift your hips, shift them to the right a couple or 3 inches. Put them down. Let the knees go to the left. And again, you can use your foot to hold up. You can grab a block and put it, if you want, underneath your legs somewhere to give support. And then you can let yourself turn your head if you want to look over away from the direction the legs are going. You don't need to add that part, just if it adds and feels really good. And just breathe. Let yourself just enjoy finding release in the twist. And then we'll come on back up with the knees. Uncross the legs, straighten out your spine again. Bring the feet on, knees on in. Bring the feet up in the air. And just do a little cross-country ski motion there, just to let yourself release your back, your hips. And then listen to your body. There may be any number of things right now that you feel like you need to do before Shavasana, right? So if there's anything, you know, you need to do another twist. If you feel like you need to let yourself come into any kind of release where you feel better in your hips or your neck or your shoulders in any way by doing any other kind of pose you want, take a minute or so here to do it. I'm not going to lead you. I'm going to let you follow your body here. I'm hoping that many of you have gotten into doing home practice during these months of this pandemic. I have to tell you that
the last month I've been doing yoga first thing in the morning, and I'm telling you, it has made a huge difference in recovery for me. I couldn't do it for a long time, but so take your time. We are going to come into Shavasana. I'm not going to keep this recording going through the whole time of like how I usually do for Shavasana. I would like for you to stay in Shavasana. I will just quietly finish out the session without getting you up, so that you can stay as long as you want. And you're in surroundings where you feel comfortable. If you want a 15 or a 20-minute Shavasana, that would be amazing. So get comfortable. Use whatever support you need. I wish I were there to bring you bolsters for under your knees, or blankets, or anything that would help you, eye pillows to help you be more comfortable, but I'll just pretend I'm doing that right now so that you can start to soften into the ground. Letting your arms and your legs come to a place where you can feel very released up into your shoulders and your hips. Eyes gently closed, feeling soft through your face. Let go all around your eyes and your mouth. And start to watch your breath now, just observing your breath. The wave of your breath in and out. Your mind is going to wander off. When it does, if you can, just softly bring yourself back to your breath. And give yourself these few minutes to give your mind and your body time to benefit from all you just did. Simply by letting yourself completely and fully relax.